Mariam was the kind of person who always smiled in public, but inside, her thoughts were loud, chaotic even. At work, one unread email from her boss would trigger a chain of thoughts. Did I mess something up? Am I being called in for a warning? What if I get fired? What if I can't pay rent? At night, one silence from a friend became, did I offend her? Maybe I talked too much. It didn't stop, and the worst part, she knew she was overthinking. She just didn't know how to stop. One weekend, Mariam took a short break from work and went to visit her childhood home. Her grandmother, whom she called Amma, still lived there. Quiet, calm, and ever so gentle, Amma welcomed her with warm tea and no questions. Later that night, as the crickets chirped and stars blinked in the village sky, Amma noticed Mariam sitting alone, staring at her phone. You look tired, child, Amma said softly. I am, Amma, Mariam sighed. Not from work, from my head. I just can't stop thinking. About everything, all the time. Amma didn't say much. She just gave a small smile and disappeared into the kitchen. Mariam flopped onto the couch, too tired to even wonder what her mother was doing. She stared at the ceiling fan, watching it spin in lazy circles, feeling like her mind was doing the same, round and round, going nowhere. A few minutes later, Amma returned, holding something strange. She handed Mariam a balloon and a black marker. Mariam blinked, half confused. What's this for? Amma sat beside her and said gently, your mind is like this balloon. Every little worry, every what if, every assumption, every tiny fear is a puff of air. Small, but powerful when you keep adding more and more. Tonight, I want you to write every overthinking thought you have on this balloon, and each time give it one puff. Mariam laughed, unsure, but Amma's eyes were kind, serious, so she began. What if I mess up my project? One puff. Why did he leave my message on read? Another puff. What if they all think I'm boring? Maybe I'm not doing enough with my life. What if everyone is secretly disappointed in me? Puff, puff, puff. Within 30 minutes, the balloon was swollen, almost ready to pop. Mariam looked at it. For the first time, she saw what her mind had been doing, inflating meaningless thoughts until they became unbearable. She held the balloon to Amma. I think it's about to explode. Amma nodded. That's what happens inside your head too. Not because of life, but because you keep feeding every fear. Mariam stared at the balloon again. And then, she smiled. She took a pin pop. The sound was loud, but freeing. And that night, Mariam slept peacefully for the first time in months. Of course, the next day, the thoughts tried to return. They crept in like old ghosts, quiet at first, then louder, demanding to be heard. What if they're mad at you? What if you said the wrong thing? What if you're falling behind? But this time, Mariam noticed them. Instead of letting them fill her mind, she whispered, don't inflate it. When someone left her message on read, she didn't spiral into 100 worst-case scenarios. She breathed. When her boss frowned, she didn't assume. She waited. She observed. And slowly, her life became less about reaction and more about reflection. Step by step, moment by moment, she reclaimed tiny pieces of her peace. Not by fighting the thoughts, but by refusing to feed them. She started journaling, meditating, practicing silence before assumption, and people noticed the difference. Did something change in you? They asked. Yes. She stopped blowing air into every shadow of doubt. Overthinking is like inflating a balloon. The more you feed it, the more pressure you create until you pop. Most fears are just thoughts we've overfed. Let them pass. Let silence speak. You don't have to react. You don't have to solve everything in your head. Because often, peace begins when you stop trying to control what isn't even real.